So yeah, it would have to probably be Wiz Khalifa. That was the biggest achievement. I had been getting different stars and celebrities shirts. I had been working with a couple of different stars and putting my stuff on their website or whatnot, or making clothes for them holding up, taking a picture. But when Wiz Khalifa threw the shirt on for us, just that was a whole story in itself. Quinton Jackson is a family man, most importantly, God friend. I wouldn't got to where I am today without having my faith, so it's a big part of my life. He wasn't around 24/7, but the time that he was around, I felt like I lost a part of me. I remember like yesterday, I went to school, October 1997, went to school like a regular day. I got all the way to 5th period right before lunch. I got called out to the office. My aunt came and picked me up from school. I was looking like, what's going on? Nobody wasn't saying anything. So we got back to the house and my mom was sitting on the couch and she was crying. By that time, I knew it was over with, like he was gone. So I kind of put 1 and 2 together because my mom didn't come home that night before. My aunt took us to school that morning. But I felt like a piece of me had left, but at the time I was still too young to actually realize what that piece was. And just the fact that I know like he was a businessman, like not working for anybody else. That was a part of me that actually like stood out. Grandpa was a gambler, a big gambler. Stayed at the horse tracks, and like I said, he wasn't rich or anything like that. He wasn't poor, but just continued, just put bets on him. And he actually, him and one of his friends actually, back in the day, they bought some property and some land. And at the time, a lot of people wouldn't buy land. For one, it's expensive. It actually ended up paying off for him in the end, because now that he's gone, we still have the land, and every now and then somebody comes and look, see if they want to buy it or not. So it's like he actually planted a seed back in the day, thinking about his family. Even though he had a lot going on with his personal life, he still thought about his kids, and like he left all the extras for them. So I mean, risk taker. He didn't have to buy that land and think about the future and what he could leave behind, but he did. So I respect him for that. I really remember my grandfather being a risk taker. He wasn't perfect. Like he was a Rolling Stone, but it's certain attributes about that. Like he was always on the move. He was a military man, but he moved from one place to the next. But I remember him just living life, doing what he wanted to do. Like he wasn't rich or anything like that, but he was always on trips. He was enjoying life. Like he stayed in different states constantly. But whenever he did come to St. Louis to come visit, or if I went down to Oklahoma to go visit, it was like he didn't miss a beat. Take me out to eat, just go different places. Like literally, he was that father figure that I was missing in my life, where just hanging out, just quality time. So
one man can change the world.
It was very culture shocking. Me being in the private school system when I first started off in St. Louis, and then going to the public school district in Oklahoma. It's a very small town, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and people, they just move differently. starting to see things that I never seen before. And it was actually so close-knit that I really wanted to stay there. I started playing football, was playing basketball already, but just the whole atmosphere, everybody knew everybody was in everybody's business. If you needed something, you didn't have to go without because it was more of a family thing. So I really liked that aspect of it. It was very close-knit. Me transitioning from Oklahoma, how I was moving to Oklahoma, then going to that first school, and then getting a whole different field. So when I reconnected with my old friends, I could tell someone got more close-knit with each other. Like we was in 4th grade, everybody played with everybody, but we talking 7th grade now. People starting to come into their own and try to fit back in, be that piece that I was before I left, but it wasn't the same connection. They was off thinking about other things. I didn't have the same mindset as them. I felt like I had more street smarts than book smarts. They were strictly book smart. I was starting to transition to what to do, what not to do in certain situations. So if something happened, I'll think in my head like, oh, I didn't see this before. I'll tell one of my friends what they should do, and they like, nah, we're not gonna do it that way. And I'm like, what are you all alone? That's not how that's not what I went through when I was gone. So it wasn't a good mix. And went to school, ended up having some words with this little dude that was from my neighborhood, but with it being DSEG program, to ship us out and bring us back. And he was running his mouth one night. I got off the bus, I walked to the house. I'm just like just literally laying around the couch. Doorbell ring. Grandma get up, she go open up the door. It's him and his 2 homeboys. They hit the front door trying to fight me. And I was like, oh, it's serious like that. And it was really to the point where I knew it was just me. Like, there's no more being nice. Cause we want to talk stuff, we go back and forth all day. But when you bring the threat to my actual family, like, who knows if they had a gun, pistol, anything like that. If they got real ugly on my grandmother's doorstep. And every single thing, I was like, yeah, anything that pop off, make sure that's not gonna get back to my family because I don't want them hurt. The first thing people gotta do is know yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else. I understand it's easy to hop in a group, hop in a gang, hop in some little crew, whoever's cool, you trying to be with them, but trying to keep up with the other person, you're gonna end up losing yourself. You're not gonna know who you are. You're gonna end up being a copy of them. And that's the worst thing you can do to yourself is try to mimic somebody else because you don't know their back history, you don't know what they went through to actually get there. And you're gonna find yourself in a situation that you didn't have to put yourself in the first place. So it's really just be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. And when you be yourself, you'll come out things will be so much easier for you. I like to observe. I can go into a pack room and not say anything, but by the time we leave out that room, I can probably walk up to you and tell you a few things about yourself, just how you carry yourself. I like to observe. I like to know who I'm in a room with, who I'm around, because there's a lot of people that just go in blind. It's just like in the classroom, you could be a student and it's always that one student that's a storyteller. Every time the teacher say something, oh, I remember a time when, or it's a student that raised their hand, a brown nose, and they want to call it. That always answered all the questions. Like, I was a student, I would sit like in the middle to the back and just pick out who is who. Because now, I didn't want to blend in, but at the same time, I want to know who I'm dealing with, just in case if I get caught up and don't know an assignment, I know who wrote down the actual notes, or I know who I can, crack a joke with every now and then to make the class a little more enlightened if I had a boring professor. But just observing people, that's one thing I'm big on. I'd rather you know who your target audience is and who you're dealing with, from business to the classroom, just to better understand what you actually dealing with. Was just making sure that I didn't mess up freshman year of high school, and then sophomore year is when I started opening up. I knew how people acted. I knew how they moved. And it was homecoming. It was like maybe a month outside of homecoming, and they was doing a homecoming court. I ended up just throwing my name out there just to, not too many people knew me, but people knew me. And put my name in for homecoming for sophomore prints, and ended up having an assembly. And it was then when I actually came to my own, where I hopped up on stage with some little Mexican presentation of some Mexican dance, and I volunteered. And I remember doing a little cha-cha salsa dance with them, and then like the last 5 minutes, like, okay, we're gonna see if you can take what you just learned and do it on your own for the last couple of minutes. Instead of me doing the cha-cha, I busted out the mono to some straight Mexican music, and when I did that, the whole crowd erupted, like all the students. After that, everybody knew my name. The feeling of everybody accepting me for who I was, because I was the dancer. Like, I love that attention, because it wasn't like I was trying to be anybody else. I wasn't trying to act like I was the athlete or anything like that. It was just me coming into my own. So that really was changing that day. I started looking at life like I can still be me, I can still be cool, and I can still be on my grades. Biggest inspiration, I would have to say, is my uncle. He was my rock. Like, that was my father. Went from working in the hospital, leaving the hospital, working for Famous and Boys, switched over to Macy's, and he finally left Macy's and opened up his own little convenience store right off of Cass. And I believe that's me going to work with him in the summertime. That's where I was installed in starting my own business, like knowing that I could run my own business. And he did that for like 3 or 4 years, and then went back to working for a jewelry store and whatnot. And then I want to say in probably 2008, he was diagnosed with cancer. He ended up passing in 2009, and I took that hard. Like, I was going through that. I had a young lady pregnant at the time. Didn't know how to handle that, and it was a lot going on, like literally. And when I say losing him and not having somebody to sit back and, I guess you want to say, to have my back when I was going through certain things, especially with school, because when I was here at Harris-Stowe, it wasn't the best of times either. Like, I fell off my studies, was trying to graduate, but I wasn't able to graduate, and on top of that, I had just received Mr. Harris-Stowe. Then I had got caught up in Florida on some criminal activity that wasn't the characteristics of me. So all this is going on around the same time, and I lost it. Like, you could have put me in the psych ward. I was heavily drinking. Anybody who wanted to fight, they didn't have to start it. If they wanted to start it, I'm finishing. And I was messed up then. Like, I was at my lowest in life. I thought it was over with. And it got to the point where I had to think about what was my actual purpose. Like, me being in church, I knew there was a higher being, but at the time I felt like I didn't have one. Even though I had my mom and the rest of my family, I still didn't feel complete or whole. So it was really just, I guess my mother was a big influence on me at the time, just, telling me, like, your uncle wouldn't appreciate this, or he would want you to do better. And honestly, it was nothing but God that saved me. Like, it wasn't nothing that I did personally, like, okay, I gotta stop this. It was just as time progressed, certain people was put in my life where I changed up everything. You know, I was like what, fresh 21, 22, trying to, I guess you could say I was trying to maintain and kill my pain with drinking and hanging out with the wrong crowd. But as time went on, those people that I was hanging with, they started falling off. In 2011 was when my son was born, and I got my act somewhat together. I knew I had something to live for, but I still wasn't perfect. Like, I'm still not perfect, and after that, it really was a life changer. Knowing that I had a little man, I had to get my stuff together. I had to graduate because now I got another life to take care of. It wasn't his choice. It was my responsibility. So I can honestly say, from losing my uncle, which was my biggest influence, he was replaced with my son, because now it's my motivation to keep going. One Poor Live Rich basically is my company. It's a clothing line. It started in 2011. I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but blessing in disguise. I had a friend at the time. He was going out to the NFL. Had just been drafted or whatnot, and we ended up going to throw him like a going away party or whatnot. So we started planning a party, and I ended up making a flyer, and on top of the flyer, I put Born Poor Live Rich. I sent the flyer over to my friend, like, here go the flyer. He's like, why you put Born Poor Live Rich? I was like, well, it was a quote that one of our other friends had made when we was in high school. And I figured that's what we live by, so that's what we should call ourselves. My other friend ended up getting it put on a shirt, just plain bold letter, Born Poor Live Rich. We ended up wearing it to the party that night. People seen it and started asking for the actual shirt. During that summer, we was, we selling the shirts, but it wasn't a business at the time. It was just like, okay, you want a shirt, you want to be a part of us, and ended up selling the shirts. It wasn't until like maybe October where we had to sit down and it was like, hold on, we got something here, and ended up making it a full-out business, offering different designs, different type of shirts. Went from regular t-shirts to sweatshirts, and from there, that's where it was created. Yeah, it would have to probably be Wiz Khalifa. That was the biggest achievement. I had been getting different stars and celebrities shirts. I had been working with a couple of different stars and putting my stuff on their website or whatnot, or making clothes for them holding up, taking pictures. But when Wiz Khalifa put the shirt on for us, that was a whole story in itself. How I wasn't supposed to go to the concert. I got a call to make a shirt for a friend. He ended up calling me, say, make me a shirt. I made him a shirt. Sent him the shirt. He called me back like, hey, I got an extra ticket. You want to go to the concert? We were sitting all the way in the back. Just so happened we seen another friend that was sitting in the front. We ended up sneaking up to the front. After we snuck up to the front, we were standing in the standing in the walkway. The usher at the time was like, you have to move because Wiz gonna run back there. And he was like, where? He's like, you all sit back here. He gonna be performing this backstage. We ended up going back there, like sitting on the backstage. Nobody knew he was coming but us because the usher had already hit us the game. So Wiz come running to the back and we're up in the aisle. My friend stood on the chair and was like, Wiz, look at my shirt. Wiz took a drink of water, he looked back over, took another drink of water and looked at the shirt like, let me get that. And so we put the shirt on, hopped on stage, and people started taking pictures left and right. And then it went crazy, like it went viral. And we started getting so many hits on the website for shirts. And the fact that he had it on, it was great, but the fact that when people started ordering from us and I was able to explain the meaning behind the brand, that's when I started getting some loyalty. don't give up. Like, I don't care what you go through. I don't care who dies, who catches cancer, who gets shot, what money you don't have. Like, it's no reason for anyone to fail. Like, I am a testament. Like, I have made it through the depths of hell. I'm still going through it. I'm not perfect, like I said. There's certain things I need to work on. But as long as you are bettering yourself at least on one thing every day, you're gonna look up a few days from now and you're gonna see that you actually added something positive. Like, it's 365 days in a year. If you break a habit one day or add something positive every day, by the end of the year you'll have 365 new good habits to your life. So it's really working on yourself and just never giving up. Just always trying to do something positive. Even if you have the worst day possible, just know like that day is over, but you got another day to live for. And that's the best advice I can give you, because like I said, I done been through it. And I'm still here to tell you the story. I'm still here to actually live to see a better day, start my own family, take care of my son, take care of my fiance, take care of my mom and the rest of my family, own my own business and just be successful. So even though it may seem like you're going through the worst of the worst right now, just know you're going through an actual storm. It's always a rainbow at the end of a rainstorm.